Are you looking for the best 120Hz 4K gaming TVs? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best gaming TVs on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Hisense U8H. Not all worthwhile gaming TVs are a disposable income sink. Case in point, the comparatively affordable but still feature-rich U8H from Hisense. The TV surpasses its previously featured predecessor in brightness, contrast, and response times. Best of all, you can snag a 6.5 model and still stay in triple-digit territory. We love the U8H's minimalistic design and thin yet wide metal feet. They're close to the edges, so wobble isn't a concern. Both feet have cable channels for a cleaner appearance and lift the TV more than 3 inches. The plastic back is thicker than on most competitors, and the I/O is on the right. Plan your console and PC placement accordingly. The U8H's port selection is modern and generous. It has 4 HDMI connections, 2 of which work with the newest HDMI 2.1 standard. These share space with USB 3.0 and an analog headphone jack. There's also a separate area to the left and down where you'll find the Ethernet jack, an optical S/PDAF out, and a USB 2.0 plug. While not as intricate as the QB90BS, the backlight dimming here is excellent for the price. Bloom is kept in check, and few details are lost when a scene involves high contrast with small bright spots. This is the best 4K gaming TV if you live in a modern open space, since a whopping sustained brightness of 700 nits is enough for any situation unless the sun is shining directly into the screen. Number 2. Samsung QN90B. Samsung might offer cutting-edge OLED technology, but their recent VA TVs are also worth considering. The QN90B balances strong features with a price that won't leave you reeling. It features excellent local dimming, flawless console compatibility, and response times in line with high-performance gaming monitors. The QN90B impresses with its understated modern design. Its base curves down and forward, offering sturdy footing for the TV proper while letting you unimpededly place a soundbar in front. The base is heavy but narrow, so the TV might wobble if you manhandle it. While the back is plastic, it has a cool brushed aluminum pattern that elevates the aesthetics. The I/O is recessed to the left and holds a satisfactory port spread. Optical S/PDAF out and an Ethernet jack accompany 2 USB-A ports and 4 HDMI connections. Analog audio isn't an option. Audiophiles will have to connect their systems digitally since the TV's built-in sound is just okay. However many devices you connect, the built-in cable channel keeps things tidy. A VA panel is usually already a sign of excellent contrast, but the QN90B takes it to the next level with outstanding local dimming. Unlike some gaming monitors with only a handful, the hundreds of zones successfully keep light bleed at bay while making bright pinpoints surrounded by black a joy to behold. Initial color calibration is decent, with some room for improvement. The blues are somewhat inaccurate, and colors in general are slightly warmer than they should be. Spend a minute to correct this, and you'll have a vivid and accurate picture. 95% of the DCI-P3 gamut is covered, making for nuanced and vivid shades that pop without being blown out. Number 3. LG CX. Want stunning visual fidelity akin to the C2s at a lower price? That's exactly what you get in the LG CX if you don't mind going back 2 generations. We sure wouldn't, as the older display still delivers fantastic 4K 120Hz visuals, punchy sound, and magnificent colors. Just be sure to watch in a dark environment and avoid prolonged use in windows due to considerable burn-in risk. The C2 is an alluring mixture of black metal and slightly textured plastic, with only its bottom third departing from the otherwise paper-thin display. Unlike the TVs we've mentioned so far, it has an elongated foot that's very sturdy but takes up more space. The foot's lip is also close to the screen, so you'll want to move any accompanying soundbar to the front to avoid obstruction. Despite being a 2020 model, the CX has almost all the hallmarks that make its successor screen so great. The OLED panel combines superb contrast with ideal black levels and appreciable uniformity. Color gamut coverage is wide enough to let HDR content shine while not oversaturating older shows or games. calibration is slightly off by default, as is the case with LG's newer models. Fortunately, you can look up the optimal settings online and achieve a markedly better white balance with minuscule delta E color values. There's no difference in vibrancy or contrast levels when switching to game mode. Number 4. Sony A90J. Our top 2 picks were released this year, but 2021's models aren't out of the race yet. Sony's A90J is among the first to come to mind if you're looking for a comprehensive 120Hz 4K TV for gaming. It's a feat for the senses, augmenting a superb visual experience with equally impactful audio. The A90J is our most expensive recommendation, yet it's also the most complete and well-rounded of the bunch. Like most modern OLED TVs, the A90J is thin and elegant. Its feet are unique in that you can either lower them to have it almost flush with the bottom surface or raise them for a soundbar to fit under the display. Alternatively, you can angle the feet to reduce their footprint if you own the 83-inch version. A standard smattering of ports awaits in the back, including HDMI, USB, Ethernet, TV tuners, and a headphone jack. Keep in mind that only 2 of the 4 HDMI ports adopt the 2.1 standard. You'll need to plug your console or graphics card into one of them to not be limited to 4K at 60 Hz. While the A90J is a traditional OLED display, it doesn't trail far behind the S95B's visual excellence. It has a similarly broad contrast in-amp, backlight uniformity, not to mention the ability to display a breadth of colors. Factory calibration is also on point, scoring well in the color temperatures and gamma departments. Number 5. Samsung S95B. Samsung's contender for the best 4K gaming TV is hot on the C2's heels. While more expensive, the S95B delivers superlative picture quality thanks to a new Quantum Dot OLED panel. It's speedy, has outstanding contrast, and is brighter than our winner if you turn the restraints off. This is as close to a tie as we've ever gotten, so personal preference and the C2's broader size selection will be major decision-making factors. The S95B is an attractive, razor-thin display with a thick yet comparatively small angular base. It juts out far enough to provide stability while ensuring a soundbar you place in front of it doesn't interfere cover the picture. For HDMI 2.1 and amp, 2 USB ports take up the lion's share of the I/O along with Ethernet, optical S/PDAF out, and even an analog 3.5mm jack. Samsung implemented quantum dots to produce an almost immaculate picture. Instead of the RGB and white LEDs employed by regular OLED, it uses RGB in a triangle shape where green is larger than the others. As these can also be turned off, the result is a display with inky blacks, near infinite contrast, and the finest local dimming currently available. The color coverage is equally impressive, spanning the entirety of the DCI-P3 gamut and more than 80% of the newer Rec. 2020 standard. HDR content looks mesmerizing, with excellent color fidelity and no blown-out highlights when dark areas and swaths of light collide. The screen is brighter in SDR mode than the C2 but feels restrictive with the automatic balance on. Disabling this restriction sees peak brightness shoot up into the high 400 nit range.